Okay, today we're going to be showing you how to use the revolve tool to make construction of things in Inventor easier. And we're going to do that by making a rubber sleeve and also an axle for the Automoblocks car. So here's the rubber sleeve, and we've got some measurements on that. We know that the diameter of the rubber sleeve from outside to outside is 1.375 inches, and then we know the thickness of this rubber sleeve is 0.25 inches. The rounding of the edges here has a radius of 0.25. There is a hole over here that is a diameter of 1875, and then the thickness here is 0.156, and the overall length of this is 4.469. Now, one thing they do here on your drawing is they actually give you, if you cut this rubber sleeve in half, and then we're just looking at this part right here, we can just draw this bottom part and then revolve it, and it will make the entire circle. So it's kind of different than just making a circle and then extruding it and doing that twice. So that's what we're going to do today, is draw the profile if this rubber sleeve was cut in half. We'll draw this profile. Now the first thing we want to do is fill in our measurements, and I want you to fill these in on your paper. We're going to use a construction line to do our revolution, but let's first figure out these missing measurements here. So from the construction line to the top of this profile, so we're talking about the construction line that's going down through the middle to the top of this profile, that would be the diameter. We know from the other edge to this edge is 0.1875. So if we just cut that in half, so it's going to be 0.1875 divided by 2, and we're actually going to type that in Inventor when we get ready to do this. Then we also want to know from this outside edge to the construction line, which the construction line's running down the middle. Well, I know from outside edge to outside edge is 1.375. So again, if I just divide that by 2, that'll get me to the construction line. And then the last measurement that we're going to need is the thickness of this rubber, so from inside edge to outside edge, and we know that right here is 0.25. So we'll use that. So we're actually going to just draw this profile in Inventor and then revolve it, and we will have to do a fillet also. So in Inventor, start a new part, and what I would do, again, I'm kind of big about just kind of drawing this basic shape and then using the dimensioning tool to get the dimensions correct on it. So that's what I'm going to do over here. I'm just going to draw that basic shape. So I'll start a 2D sketch, and I'm going to be using line tool because this shape is not really any kind of other shape that any kind of polygon that we know. So I'm just going to draw that basic shape, and again, right now I'm not worried about measurements. So I'll start here at the origin, and I'll just go down a little bit and then over. I'll zoom out here so that I can, and then pan over. Just make sure when you draw these lines that you do have that they're connected. So if I remember what the shape looks like here, so go down and then over and then straight up and then over, but not quite as far. And that's the basic shape of what they've drawn there for me. So now I'll put dimensions on it and really get it to be exact. So again, I always work from my overall dimensions first, so I'm going to type in my 4.469. So I'll use my dimension constraint, and really these two lines I should have drawn as one line, so I'm going to go back and delete those and draw those as one line there. So go back and put that line in, that line to this line. Okay, now I'm ready to use my dimension constraint. So from this line to this line should be 4.469. So notice it's keeping the overall shape, but it's making it longer. And then I'll also need to make a construction line in here. So I'm just going to draw a random line out here, and I'm going to hit escape and then right click on that line and make it a construction line. So notice now that it's dashed. So I need to use that construction line as a reference point. So I also know that this width right here is 0.156, so I'm going to dimension that 0.156, and then I'm going to start using my construction line now. Well, let's go ahead and get this height of this line over here. So that height should be 0.25. And then I'll start using my construction line. So I know that from the outside edge to the construction line is 1.375 divided by 2. So here to the construction line, 1.375 divided by 2. And then the last one I need is just from this edge to the construction line, 0.1875 divided by 2. There to the construction line, 0.1875 divided by 2. Now we've got our shape and it's all dimensioned, so we can now revolve that, and that's all we'll need to do, except do our fillet here in a second. So I'm going to move this over so we can see it. So just choose the revolve tool, and it automatically chooses the shape that we just drew. That would be profile, but it's already chosen that. The next thing is axis, so I'm going to choose my construction line as my axis. Let me zoom out so you can see what's happening here. And so notice it's revolving it around the axis. I do want it a full revolution. You can go back and just tell it like to only do 180 degrees and so forth, but we want it to be 360 degrees all the way around. And so I'll click my check mark, and so now that's done. And so the last thing I have to do here is you notice how this outside edge is rounded, and that's rounded to 0.25. So I'll use my fillet tool to do that. I'll choose both of these outside edges and change that to 0.25. And there is my rubber sleeve. So we can save that as our rubber sleeve. And again, I want you to put that on your Z drive. I'm going to put it on my Google Drive, but you all put that on your Z drive in your Geometry of Design folder, and go ahead and name that rubber sleeve. And we'll be, once we get all of these finished, we'll be submitting these under 5.5A.